Well, I remember when I was 4 years old, I went to sign up for Little League, and I was found that I was too young to play. I was born in November, so I was really young for my class. So as they came back to give my father the money, to refund the money, which was like $5, I think, they gave him a $5 bill, said I couldn't play, which would have been pretty hard for the guy to walk up to an old, ex-ball player, well, he's still playing at the time, and tell him your son can't play because he's not old enough. So it must have been kind of hard for the guy, but my father made no big deal out of it. We just turned around and said, let's go get an ice cream cone, and that was about as much I thought about it. And I remember him paying for the ice cream cone with the $5 bill that they had given him. And I remember asking him, how much do you have to pay to play? And he said, oh no, son, they pay me to play. And from that point forward, that was all they wanted to be. No, high school was pretty much a great time. It was, fun, great team. I was very fortunate. I had probably the best baseball coach that anybody could ever have in Bob Milano, who is now a NC2A Hall of Fame coach. Went on to coach at Cal for 25 years. He was there my senior year there as the assistant coach behind Jackie Jensen, then took over the reins a year later and was there for 25 years. The only thing that really upsets me is that I lost the batting title my senior year by about 4 or 5 points my senior year in high school at Burlingame High School to Keith Hernandez. I was a little upset with that, but it's kind of hard to be mad when the guy is a future MVP that beats you out, so I'm okay with it. And then, of course, being from a baseball family, there was no way I was going to sign out of high school. My father says you're going to school whether you like it or not. So I went to Cal, didn't play football over there, only played baseball. And signed a contract after my senior year because, again, I was too young to sign after a junior year. And played 4 years in the minor leagues, a couple with the Giants, a couple with the Angels. Well, the minor leagues are torture when you're there and heaven when you look back on it. I mean, when you're 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 maybe, and you're driving around in old buses and you're eating terrible food and getting sick all the time, and you go to bed, you get in the bus at 11 o'clock after an evening game, you drive 6 hours in the bus, then you try to sleep for 2 hours and you have a game that night that you're not going to win, most likely. It's the worst of times and the best of times. I mean, the minor leagues are really a real slice of Americana, in that you go to these little small towns and you're yelled and screamed at by the small town, fans who all like you, but you're the opponent, so they can't like you. So it's a really cool experience. Not the greatest experience when you're living in it, but when you look back on it and you realize it was a chance to postpone real life for another 3 or 4 years, it was great times. And I have so many very good friends that I still have from playing cards on the bus for hours and hours at a time, or sitting in little lousy hotel rooms in small towns all over the country. It was a very eye-opening and it was a great way to live about an extra 3 or 4 years before you have to start looking at 9-to-5 jobs.